All men and women created by go. You know this. You know.
I hear Kofefi.
In the late 2018, both the UN and a group of U.S. federal scientists released reports explaining changing climate is responsible for rising sea levels and severe weather conditions, such as droughts, wildfires, and hurricanes, which threatens infrastructures, the economy, and millions of lives. If global temperatures rise above 2 degrees Celsius beyond the pre-industrial levels, it will prompt a mass migration of people from impacted areas. More than 350 million people will be exposed globally to deadly heat waves by 2050. More than 500 billion lost in annual economic output in just the United States. Risk damage to 1 trillion of public infrastructure and coastal real estate in the United States. Loss of more than 99% of all coral reefs on Earth, and more than double the number of forest fires in 2050 in the American West compared to the years preceding 2019. Climate scientists' proposed solution to prevent this calamity is to keep global temperature below 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrialized levels and achieve net zero global emissions by 2050. In light of these challenges, a group of American climate activists recruited Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Senator Ed Markey to unveil a congressional resolution, a conceptualization of where we are and where we may need to go, known as the Green New Deal. The 14-page resolution consisted of 2 large ideas. The Green New Deal, like many climate scientists, advocates for the elimination of pollution and greenhouse gas emissions as much as technologically feasible. This includes meeting 100% power demand through renewable, zero-emission energy sources such as power grids, upgrading and expanding infrastructure to reduce risk of climate impacts, and establish energy efficiency standards. Farmers will practice sustainable farming to increase soil health so that fresh produce will be grown locally. Transportation systems will be overhauled to achieve clean, affordable public transit and high-speed rails. Low-tech solutions, such as land preservation and afforestation, will be pursued to increase carbon storage. The Green New Deal seeks to build a world powered without fossil fuels, thus reimagining industries and economy. On the international stage, Green New Deal envisions the U.S. becoming the world leader in fighting climate change again. This enormous undertaking emphasizes that the world is past the point where we can make incremental actions to counter climate change. The resolution calls for a swift and dramatic transition, which means without a plan, some people will be left behind. When the Green New Deal says zero emissions, it is slashing the oil, natural gas, coal, and internal combustion engine automobile industries completely. If we begin the decarbonization process, people working in these industries may lose their health care and potentially their homes. This is where the second part of the Green New Deal comes in, by trying to address how the American society can acclimate to a decarbonized world. It acknowledges climate and wealth injustices already present in America and how the economic fate of the average American worker is in the hands of powerful corporations and politicians. If the safety net isn't set up for the frontline, vulnerable communities, inequalities will only exacerbate. So Part 2 promises to provide higher education, job training, quality jobs for every person in the U.S., especially in deindustrialized communities. It also vows every person will have high-quality health care, affordable housing, economic security, clean water, air, food, and nature. It incentivizes those who invest in the mobilization process that they will receive a return on investment and ownership stakes. The Green New Deal ideally reconstructed the economy in a way no one is left behind and every person will reap its benefits. So is the Green New Deal a good deal? Because of its entanglements with social and economic injustices, the climate goals of the Green New Deal may find itself in a partisan and ideological war over capitalism and economy. This is the concern of Alex Trembath, the deputy director at the Breakthrough Institute, who said, "I worry that the energy and climate stuff hasn't been fleshed out, but it's full speed ahead on a jobs guarantee. I mean, the politics of this is already really hard. I'd be cautious about attaching free college to it, because that's going to make it harder." In 2009, President Barack Obama invested $90 billion into clean energy under a larger and more controversial economic stimulus plan known as the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. This is often known as a predecessor to the Green New Deal. However, today's political reality is wildly different from that of 2009, and the resolution was already blocked by the Senate in 2019. Some criticize that a capitalist economy powered by renewables may still be environmentally harmful. Renewables have low energy density. It would require land use at an enormous scale that may end up harming the environment. To build renewable technologies such as solar panels, wind turbines, and batteries, the Green New Deal would need large quantities of lithium, cobalt, silver, steel, and copper. However, these mining businesses are often associated with terrible working conditions, human exploitation, and health hazards. Inconveniences that may arise from the Green New Deal's all-electric vision is also criticized in the aspect of transportation. Affordable public transit for all may be within reach for urban areas, but in every suburb, exurb, and small town, it may be excessively expensive and inefficient. Most mid-size electric cars on the market can only travel 90 to 125 miles with a full charge, less than half the distance of a fully fueled gas-powered car. The need for charging stations will skyrocket to ensure all vehicle owners have access. Also, electric vehicles take 30 minutes to fully charge at the quickest. How much will the Green New Deal cost? A number very oftenly thrown around as the price tag of the Green New Deal is $93 trillion, a figure provided by a conservative think tank called American Action Forum. The estimate includes $5.4 trillion for a low-carbon electricity grid, $2.7 trillion for a net zero emission system, and $4.2 trillion for green housing. AAF also adds $36 trillion for universal health care and $45 trillion for job guarantees. However, AAF did not account for any net economic potentials of transitioning to a decarbonized economy. For those concerned with the Green New Deal's costs, there is good news. Wall Street investors, in fact, are more than happy to invest in clean energy initiatives to avoid the 70% marginal tax rate for top earners that Representative Ocasio-Cortez advocates for. As soon as a mobilization bill is passed by Congress, investors will jump on board. Proponents of the resolution point to larger economic consequences if nothing is done about the imminent climate catastrophes. In a paper published in Nature, scientists warn every year there may be 26 billion lost due to worsened air quality, 140 billion from temperature-related deaths, 160 billion in lost labor, and 120 billion in yearly damage to coastal property. If one accounts for losses to other sectors, unmitigated warming will cost 520 billion every year by 2090. In a 2019 procedural vote, the Senate voted 57-0 to hand the Green New Deal a sounding defeat, with 43 senators voting present, avoiding a yay or nay vote. So what's the future for the Green New Deal? Recently, it has returned in these headlines. In July of 2020, Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden unveiled an ambitious climate plan that mirrors the Green New Deal in many aspects. The former vice president vows a $1.7 trillion federal investment, as well as leveraging over $5 trillion from additional private sector, state, and local investments. Investments will also go into an Advanced Research Projects Agency on Climate, or ARPAC, to develop clean energy technology. Biden's climate plan aims at a 100% clean energy economy, a carbon-free electric power grid by 2035, and net zero emission no later than 2050. It will provide cities with a population of 100,000 or more with zero emissions public transportation, such as rail, electric buses, and infrastructure for bicyclists. In the transition to electric powered vehicles, 1 million new auto industry jobs will be created in the U.S. Another 1 million jobs will be created in the construction and manufacturing industries, as Biden calls for upgrading 4 million buildings and weatherizing 2 million homes for energy efficiency. Like the Green New Deal's concern of widening disparities, Biden pledges that disadvantaged communities would receive 40% of overall benefits of the spending on clean energy upgrades. On the international stage, Biden also plans to recommit to the Paris Climate Accord that President Donald Trump withdrew from, and lead in enforceable international climate agreement. What do you think the U.S. government should do in face of climate challenges? Do you think the Green New Deal is the right deal or should be tweaked? Let us know in the comments section down below. Also follow for more videos as we will be releasing a detailed video about Joe Biden's 2020 platform in the coming weeks. Thank you so much for watching.